Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Amritanshu Rai and you're watching Constitutionally Yours. In this program, we attempt to demystify the Constitution. Today, we will be discussing and taking up and attempting to demystify the fundamental rights which are fundamental for the Constitution and for the governance of this country. And joining me in this endeavor are a distinguished panel of guests. I have with me Justice T.B. Radhakrishnan. He has been acting Chief Justice of the Kerala High Court. He's been nominated by the Chief Justice of the High Court. I have with me Mr. V.D. SATHEESAN. He is Member of Legislative Assembly, also a lawyer, and has been nominated by the Leader of Opposition of the Kerala Legislative Assembly. And I have with me VEENA George, who's been from the media, is a Member of Legislative Assembly, has been nominated by the Speaker of the Kerala Legislative Assembly. I also have in the audience with me students from Government Law College, Kochi. So straight away getting into the discussion. Right to life and personal liberty. Now this is Article 21, part of the fundamental rights. It reads, no person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. Now this is how it is written in the Constitution. My question to you, ma'am, is life now and after interpretation by the Supreme Court, life now also means right to live in good environment, good atmosphere, environmental. Now that's where the conflict between development and environment plays out. This has been expanded, this right has been expanded by the Supreme Court for us to get a good environment as right to life. So where should development stop to allow the correct balance of environment for the citizens?
I think this right to life is the most important right that the Indian Constitution provides a citizen or ensures a citizen. So, and I am happy that judiciary, the Honorable Supreme Court of India, has timely interpreted this article. Like as you have said, it is the right to live in good environment, right to privacy, and right to clean water, etc., etc. And there are many issues related to that. But your question, how the state should balance between development and good environment, that is a very relevant question, because here in this state of Kerala, what we now face is a serious issue of pollution. Noise pollution, Supreme Court, or I think it's Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court.
All kinds of pollution.
Yeah, all kinds of, and especially noise pollution. There was a case regarding that, and the court has clearly stated that it is against a right.
Correct.
So the state, it is a right, it is a fundamental right. The state should understand that it's a fundamental right. Providing good environment of life to the citizen is a fundamental right. The state should understand that, and the state should take measures to ensure good environment or provide.
Where do you stop the development? What is that line?
Why do you think that development and this good environment, providing good environment, are contrary, or they are not, they won't go with each other? It's
that's
wrong.
What the question
that's a wrong perception. Development and good environment, they will get along with each other very well, because you should have proper ways to manage your waste. You should have proper ways to provide this pollution-free environment. So there are many laws, no? So the state should take strict measures to ensure that or implement that.
You would like to add something?
We need development. At the same time, we have to protect the right to have a good environment for the people. There is a conflict. It's a fact that there is a conflict between the development and the protection of the environment. And I think my opinion is that state is failing to protect the right of the people to protect the environment.
Correct.
And the state is the lenience towards the development. Or otherwise, in the name of development, the state is allowing the people, the influential people, to destruct and exploit the environment. That's the situation. and there should be a consensus. I think development should be sustainable. By protecting the environment, protecting the rivers, the hilly areas and the entire environment, then only we should have development. We should reach a consensus, that is sustainable development. We have to go through all the projects, come before the government. There should be environment impact study for every each and every project.
So, if we go according to the proposals, that's the routine that happens in today's governance system. No development work will actually be accomplished in less, I mean minimum 4 years. If all this is done, it will start. So, if a development work has to start, the precursor, the starting up activity will take 4 years if all this has to be done. So, what happens? The status of the individuals whose life has to be improved, health, standard of living, status, all that has to be improved. Where do you clip the wings of development? Is there a line, is there some sort of a area which you think can be identified that okay, these things should not be done?
Then that is why I suggested the sustainable development. When a development project come before the government, there should be some mechanism to go through the environment impacts. The first priority of the government is to protect the environment itself. Not only for the existing generation, for the coming generation, future generation also.
Yeah, got it.
We are depositing amounts in the banks and we are acquiring lands for the future generation, for our sons and daughters, for our children.
Destroying the environment.
But destroying the entire environment. Entire environment.
Correct.
They have a right, for the future generation have also a right to get the good air, good water, everything else. And in the name of development, the government is assisting to protect destructing the environment also.
Sir, you would like to add to this, because this is a very sticky area, development versus environment, and this is playing out in almost all courts across the whole country in various forms and cases. The same conflict, sir. And sometimes it's the environment which gets the upper hand, sometimes it's the development which gets the upper hand. So, does it have to be case to case, determined by the judiciary, or should there be enough safeguards at the level of the citizens itself?
I see this from a slightly different perspective. What we normally now debate in platforms, even in courts, even in other issues, the word environment is always used to cover certain larger issues.
Larger issues, yes, obviously.
There is something where we have to understand what is ecology and what is environment. What you really have to sustain is the ecological pattern in which the globe or the earth works. This is a basic issue as far as our temperature issues, this icebergs and issues,
global warming,
all those are essentially internationally or even globally, it is basically an ecological problem.
Depletion of water levels.
Yes, and this ecological system is affected because of local environmental issues, which grows into high profile environmental issues, and that environmental impact is something more related to the immediate environment. Now, assume that you have a multi-floored residential apartment area. The environment of the people who are living there is in and around that place. As Mr. Satheesan was saying, what you need is air to breathe, water to drink. And as she was saying, it is a matter of growth and this being taken together. And at the same time, the environment has to be protected. Now, when you try to protect the environment, your larger goal should be to ensure that the ecological balance is maintained. And this balancing of ecological maintaining the ecological balance cannot be had by sporadic environmental activity. It is a sustainable process. It is to be sustained. That is what, if it is meant for our generations to come, it is the ecology that has to be sustained. And in doing that, this environment management becomes a very important thing. Now, localized environment management is the greatest problem now. Anybody, I used to sometimes at the peak of my anger, I used to say that this one element called human being is the most unwanted thing on earth. Because, but for the human being, this world would have been so beautiful.
Correct.
Because we create all the waste, we don't manage the waste, we create so much of environmental issues everywhere. And then we talk of rights and environment. And then again we push against the ecology and push against the environment. Now, development is absolutely necessary. Now, all these years we had tried to control the population worldwide. If population is not going to be controlled, then you need more space to live, you need more ways of earning money to live, you need more food. So, if you need food, the environment will have to be managed. So, therefore, where is the line to be drawn and how do you draw the line? Where the line is to be drawn is a matter of assessment. As you were saying, the environmental impact assessment, the ecological problem assessment, leave it to the people who are well versed in it. Professionals. But once that is done, as you were saying, it takes 4 years, 5 years to find out whether you need to have a particular project. And by this 4 years, 5 years, the execution cost of that project might have gone at least 40 times up.
Correct.
And who is going to pay? The people of India are going to pay. Either from the private sector or the public sector is the Indian wealth that is going.
Yes.
And how are you going to manage this? The issue is how do you crush this time frame?
Correct.
This time frame crushing, I would suggest in India, the greatest debacle is that you have so many jurisdictions and so many places where people after people can keep on complaining even without any real merit. I am telling you this is my personal experience.
Multiple appeals.
You have not only multiple appeals in a hierarchy is a different issue.
Multiple
but you have multiple
forums.
places. One man goes to the municipality or the Panchayat Raj system and makes a complaint. His brother can go and he will make a complaint to the environmental man. And from there the next man will go to the officer under the revenue department and make a complaint. And whoever is proceeding with the work will get entangled in this web. Even if government projects, even road projects, new roads being built are going down.
Because of this?
Because of this time. Because you say life expectancy of human beings. But what is the life expectancy of a project? And what is the lifespan within which? Therefore, I would suggest that we need a system in place where there must be an authority, an adjudicating authority with people, not merely the judiciary. I don't say that the judiciary has all the wherewithal to decide all the issues. Maybe the superior courts like the Supreme Court and maybe a High Court with an appellate power may decide many things. But if you decide on an environmental matter with people who do not know head or tail of environment management, it goes haywire. So you should have a single, that's what's called the single window clearance system. There should be a single window point where all these moieties, they sit together, all groups sit together. They have a common deciding platform. And that becomes a respected and honorable system whereby the people get what is guaranteed, a equal, a well-balanced matter between what is required for development and what is to be protected in the name of ecology and environment. Right. And the third most important factor, you need to do it in a time frame within which you don't grease out your program at all.
It's time for us to head into a break. When we return, we'll continue the discussions with the questions coming in from the audience. Welcome back. You're watching Constitutionally Yours from this lovely campus of Kerala High Court in Kochi. We'll take the questions.
What are the impediments before the judiciary to scrap death penalty from the statutes?
The question whether death penalty should continue as a penalty among the penal provisions of a particular nation or community is fundamentally a legislative matter. It's a legislative matter. Because it's a legislature which reflects the will of the people. That is how the Constitution works. Now, a very debatable, a highly debatable issue is the death penalty continuance in some nations, and India has a theory of where you give it as the rarest of the rare cases. Death penalty, as a matter of fact, act as a sufficient deterrent to reduce the number of crimes. Does the statistics show that this so-called death penalty or a threat of death penalty has actually brought down the crime rate? I don't think. Therefore, I would think that this is a matter entirely within the legislative domain. But one thing I would say, this rarest of the rare case combination theory, to put it in a lighter vein, I have asked some of the law students with whom I used to interact, what do you mean by this rarest of the rare? Does it depend upon the manner in which an act is done? Does it depend upon the cruelty that is you conceive and perceive as an adjudicator? Or is it a rarest and the rare activity in the society? If you take it that it is a rarest and the rare activity in the society, mind you, with passage of time, we see that many murders, many 302 charged cases come with multiple wounds, multiple weapons, very destructive forces, explosives. And what is the rarest of the rare case in criminal law now is catching a person and giving a slap. That is the rarest of the rare case. Because the rarest of the rare situations are the small offences.
Yeah.
The normal thing becomes, the order of the day has become heavy offences with heavy weapons, with heavy explosives, and also
Mass
involvement,
terrorism,
mass destruction, even more than 8, 10, 11, 12 accused persons and 3, 4, 5, 6 victims.
Yeah,
so where
yeah.
do you draw this line?
Correct,
But
correct.
ultimately, what right to life is something not to be answered solely on these issues. I think.
But this is just an indicator.
Of.
And I think that's
yeah.
a fantastic dilemma you've put, because the entire nature of crime is changing. It's becoming bigger and
Yes.
huger.
And the kingpin need not be in the scene of occurrence at all.
Correct. Yes.
I sit here
I
and
don't agree with the death penalty to environment cases. It should be disproportional. It should be against the basic principles of criminal law. But in my opinion, court as well as the state fails to protect the environment in some of the cases. For example, for the last 25 years, the coastal regulation zone rules has been existing. But in some cases, multi-storied buildings have been built by the influential people by violating the CRZ rules. And in some cases, after the completion of the building, the court regularized those construction.
Correct.
In view that is already completed, how can we issue an order to demolish this construction? At the same time, at the coastal area, the ordinary poor people have been waiting for a long time in the queue to get a sanction to build a house for 400 square feet or 500 square feet. This attracts both the Article 14 and Article 21. Their right is not protected.
Correct.
But at the same time, there is a discrimination to the influential people. But the Supreme Court, I think Justice Radhakrishnan also issued an order to demolish a building, a resort constructed worth of rupees 300 crores at the same time. But the court is also responsible for protecting the environment.
Correct. Sir, the question was on death penalty, whether to have it or not.
Personally, I am against death penalty, but with the mind of a student, I used to read the judgments like as the Honorable Judge has told, rarest of rare, and in so many cases are before us. But what I think is that we should discuss about some other related issues like preventive detention, trial prisoners.
Next question.
The question is to the executive. As we have earlier discussed about the environmental issues, the corporate lobbying by the industrialists is negatively affecting the working strategy of the executive. So, should there be a change in the strategy of the executive regarding this issue? How should it it should be dealt with.
That's the state is facing that issue. Then in the last government also, so many sanctions were given by the Environment Ministry for so many industries, for corporate lobbies. Then it was proved that only after, through the back door, they got all these orders. Then the court as well as the state, I think, cancelled those orders issued by a minister, environment minister.
Ma'am, how do you protect the state from corporate lobbying and representing the speaker who is an executive nominee? Ma'am, you have to understand the fingers are being pointed at you. So you can't really toss it off like just plainly. It is an allegation that the state, the government of the day today is getting affected by corporate lobby. That's as plain and simple as I can get.
What I think is that it is not the absence of laws. There are laws. It is the matter is that how you are implementing that. Honorable Justice has put forward a good suggestion. There should be a single window. Like here now we have the Green Tribunal is there. Other courts, the person can or the parties can approach.
Speaking for the government of the day.
Yeah.
Now suggestions will not work.
You know, I am
You
coming
have
to that
to
point.
be more concrete.
What our government is doing is that we are making strict approach towards this. We have made very clear. That's what earlier I have told you, that there is no conflict between development and this environmental protection or ecological protection, because we have that clear vision. So the government is very strict in this issue, and I don't think that after our new government has sown in, we have moved in the right path itself.
Next question.
Sir, my question is regarding the Maoist encounter happened in Nilambur. Is it a violation of Article 21 since it is suspected to be a fake encounter?
Well, a state action, particularly a police action, if it is against a particular identified group of human beings, it has to be either in connection with the commission of an offence or for the purpose of preventing an offence which is imminent and likely to be committed. There is no question of any other way of looking at the police powers of the state. Now, I had the opportunity to be on the division bench where we decided and affirmed the conviction of a very senior police officer on custodial torture and death of the in Kerala what's called as the Verghese Naxalite. Naxalite Verghese was said to have been killed in captivity after being brought under police control. And that led to, that's a historic case with a lot of public interest litigations, etc., etc. We sustained the conviction of the police officer, and ultimately the Supreme Court also did not acquit him. The matter is there. But there also we said the power of the police is either to reach at the person who has committed a crime or maybe abetted, all those elements will come. Otherwise, it is the preventive policing power. There is no question of annihilating, and even the state does not have the power to say that so and so group has to be annihilated. Unless, of course, they can only be brought under the control of the state. Therefore, but straitjacket we will not be able to put it under Article 21 because the question is based on a particular case or an incident, which I think the investigation, inquiry, etc., is essentially in its infancy, and it will be too early. And one great problem which I would straight away say here is, especially the literate state like Kerala, the public draw its own inferences immediately after incidents do happen.
Right. So they are the best judge. They've already formed an opinion.
This is why we have a problem where the media's involvement in giving ideas of what had happened sometimes surfaces, and people at the end of the day feel, what is this police doing? Because they are unable to reach the conclusion which the media is reaching.
Correct, correct, correct.
So, therefore, whether it is in conflict and whether there is an Article 21 situation, I think it's too early for us to say.
Sir, you would like to add to this?
If it is a false encounter, of course it is a violation of the Article 21. The question of fact is whether it is a false encounter or not. The same case is also applicable to the custodial torture. No person or no police authorities is allowed to have a custodial torture to any person, any citizen. It is against the Article 21. Definitely it is against the Article 21. Police or army have to protect the right of the people. But sometimes it becomes an instrument of the administration. And the administration or government or political parties are using as an instrument to suppress
No, but there
the
is
ideas.
there is a threat. The state has already indicated in a written demonstration that it's a banned organization. That is the state's intention is absolutely clear that it's a banned organization if it's a Maoist organization. Ma'am, you would like to add to it?
Yeah, I think the government stand is very clear in this matter. What has happened in Nilambur, I think it's not a fake encounter. And whether it happens in Kerala or whether it happens in Gujarat, fake encounters, they are against the right to live.
Absolutely.
So that cannot be admitted. But here the case is very clear, I think, and as of now, as it's too early because it's before the authorities know, so to decide whether it's a fake encounter or not. So let the truth come out.
The confusion is there because the Chief Minister, as so far, he is not ready to express his own opinion. Only the DGP says this was a real encounter.
Got the point, got the point.
Can I just,
yes, sir, please, quickly.
Because the question has come from the students. You are trying to put Article 21 vis-a-vis the commission of a crime. Now, just one sentence, I will give you a clue. Now it's for you to work up. If you take the Indian Penal Code, there is a chapter relating to offences relating to human body. And the anchor read out Article 21 at the first instance. It says, you shall not be deprived of your life and liberty except otherwise than in accordance with the law. So, every act of crime which is an offence to the human body, offence against the human body, is essentially deprivation of life in whatever little extent it is. If it is a small cut, there is also deprivation of life. So, therefore, Article 21 immediately comes in when a crime amounting to an offence against body is proved.
That's all we have in this episode. We'll be back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.